Hey everybody, I wanted to share with y'all a story about something that came back to my memory that I haven't thought about in a lot of years. But where it started was, and I'm gonna probably, y'all know how I am, I just can't tell a straight up story. I end up going around Robin Hood's barn, so just bear with me. I will lead into the story, but this is how I had the memory flashback. Okay, I had bought a new Bible because I have Bible issues. Okay, I'm a Bible collector, and I had bought a new Bible. And for the record, if you have never bought a large print Bible, do yourself a favor and buy a large print Bible. It is the print size that everything you read needs to be, especially when it comes to a Bible. And this is the NIV. I saw it on Amazon and it's real bendy, which I love because I have a tendency to like fold it back. But anyway, in fact, I'm gonna see if I can get this camera to focus on it. I don't know how well that's showing up, but anyway, the print size is just, and here's one with more. It's just what you would want in a print size. So I think I'm forever hooked on a large print Bible. Anyway, I think what I was doing was I was going over some of my favorite verses and books in the Bible, and I was looking at them on this large print. And I can still remember a couple of days ago I was still in awe of like going, oh my gosh, it's so easy to read. Anyway, I think this is where my story triggered my flashback, in a good flashback. I was in Psalm 91. Love that psalm. Verse 9. And it says, it's verses 9 through 11. If you say the Lord is my refuge, and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you. No disaster will come near your tent, for he will command his angels concerning you. So, and I love that. I love those two verses. Okay? And this memory comes back to me that I haven't thought about in years. And it happened when I was on patrol. Gosh, when was this? 93, 94. Okay, so we're talking what, 25, 26 years ago? I was working the south side of town, and I worked evening shift. So the time frame, though, I don't remember the season, but I remember it was getting dusky dark. Okay, and I wasn't a big traffic stop person at all, but I remember I would pull somebody over if like they had a brake light out or a tail light out, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm sure it was something along those lines, and I pull this car over on South Green Street and make contact with the driver, and it's an older lady to me, and she was probably late 60s, maybe 70. And we have a great exchange. And she tells me she's a missionary. She's living here in Longview. I don't remember if she owned the home she was in or she just rented it or it belonged. I don't know who it belonged to. I remember we were kind of talking about just the missionary work and all. And this is on a traffic stop, but y'all know me. I talk too much. So anyway, I don't remember if I wrote her a warning or cut her loose with a verbal. I don't remember. But I know that where I stopped her was maybe a half mile to her house, not this far, okay? I mean, where I stopped her, all she had to do was she continued on and then made a left turn because she lived on the corner. And so I cut her loose. I bet it wasn't less than 10 minutes later. Less than 10. I get a call to this address. And as I pull up, I recognize her car, and I'm like, that's the lady I just talked to. Here's where it gets cool. She parked on the outside of her house, on the side. I still remember this. I can still see it in my mind. I can still drive to this house, okay? But she parks outside, goes to this small stoop, cement steps. I still remember this. And now you got to remember, this neighborhood is super, super old. It's an old neighborhood. So this home, it's a brick home, but back when it was built, probably in the 40s maybe, the floor plan of these things, we would not build our houses this day. They're very roomy. Lots of rooms. Lots of turns. So she doesn't have a direct line of sight to anything, okay? So as she came in, she heard a commotion. And she can't see it, but she kind of goes towards it. She was braver than I was. If I was going into my own home and I hear a commotion, I would have, you know. So she sees that she's been burglarized. And the commotion she heard was obviously the burglar going out, I think, a window. And so she calls the police from a house phone. And I get the call. She is such a strong Christian woman that she was not going to be panicky and fearful looking. I mean, she was rock solid, y'all. I'm telling you, I was very struck by it, and obviously so, because I'm still talking about her all these years later. But she was such a fixture, okay? And so here I come, and I'm like, I just saw you. And she's like, yeah. She goes, I came in and I heard something. She was very nonchalant about it. That was what was kind of funny. She was very nonchalant about it. She goes, you know, I heard this sound and I kind of went to, and I'm like, well, we need to, like, check your house. Make sure there's not anybody else in it. So I don't remember if I called somebody else to come clear the house with me. Usually that's what you're going to do so that you can watch your own back. And, but anyway, the house is secure. And we start talking. And I don't remember the details of, like, if something was missing. I don't remember. But here's where the story was cool to me. Had I never stopped her, she would have continued from point A, where she started, gone straight to her house, and she would have encountered this person somewhere a little deeper into her home, okay? So the outcome could have very well been different. And as it was, and this is what's cool to me, is God used me to make a feather-legged traffic stop on another believer and hold her up for a little bit while this hooligan is in her house, so that when she does arrive and get there, the hooligan is somewhere a little bit closer to the entry-exit point that he came into the house at, and as soon as he hears her, out he goes, okay? And I have always remembered this story, and I had shared it back in the way back when my church used to have a Wednesday night service, and it seems churches have gotten away from that, and I hate that. And I remember I must have been off on a Wednesday, Thursday or something. But I remember sharing it because the setting was always so casual. Our pastor didn't stay in the pulpit. He came down on, at the pew level. And it was like a conversation type Wednesday night. And you could share a praise, you could share a prayer request, you could just tell a story, something that's happened during the week, whatever. You could just stand up and take your turn. So I did. I was so excited to share this story. And I remember telling the people that were there, I said, it is so cool how God used a Christian to pull over another Christian who, when she got home, wasn't injured or hurt when a burglar is fleeing out of her house. And I said, and obviously I still remember this story. But to know that God used you as a chess move that he had already in place years, lifetimes ago, before she and I even were born, to be a part of that. And, let me make this traffic stop because, like the taillight's out. And then it safely delays her walking in her home and not encountering this guy and deeper into her. It was just the coolest thing. But it says, no disaster will come near your tent. Let's change that to today's text. No disaster will come near your home, for he will command his angels concerning you. And it says, if you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you. Well, no harm overtook her. Because God used a little podunk, country twang talking cop to protect another saint. And I'll never forget it. It's been something that's always stuck with me. But you can't help but recognize, and I don't know why I'm getting blurry, you can't help but recognize when you have been used by God in the life of someone else. Why is this blurry? Focus. But I just wanted to share it. But it came to me a couple of days ago when I was reading this verse. And it took me back to that moment. And I haven't thought about it in years, but I've never forgotten it. And so don't ever discount something you're doing, because you could very well be a part of some steps that God had in place for somebody else. He's just using you, and God moves like that. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that. I hope it's something that inspires you to read your Bible more, or to take some time away from social media and just read your Bible, reflect, spend some time in prayer, and maybe think back to a time when you too possibly were used by God in the life of another believer or a non-believer. And then all of a sudden it'll make sense, why you were where you were, doing what you were doing, or saying what you were saying. He uses us. He uses ordinary people. And in my book, I'm just an ordinary person. I was doing a career that I knew I had prayed for. And someday I'll share that story too one day. It's part of my testimony. But that could be another video. But anyway, I'm rambling now. Anyway, thank you for listening, if you've listened this far. And Read your Bible and get a large print Bible. I'm telling you, you will thank me later. Golly, what a... It is just the perfect print size, y'all. I'm telling you, you can see the words. You don't have to squint. But anyway, I'm out of here. I got to go let dogs out. 10:35. I have rambled forever. So anyway, peace out. See you on the next video.